right. So, Grand Rising, all. I had a dream, and I wanted to talk about this dream because, I think it's important, and y'all need to come together, really. And so, let me tell you about the dream first. When I was a kid, I went to this school. Those who know me, you know how the school was set up. It was in like a little L shape or a seven shape. And so, when I was younger, the lower grades would be on the longer end, and the upperclassmen would be on the shorter end. In the dream, I was walking, I guess, with the teacher because I was walking with someone, and I never really got a chance to see their face. So in the dream, I had my hands like this in a circle, and in that circle, I had a round. It was rubber bands, and in the middle of the circle was the 5 point star. And I remember looking at it, and it was perfectly fine, and it looked it really good. And so I had it in my hand, and I'm just walking, and as we're getting down the hallway, of course the grades go up. Okay. And as I'm going through the grades, I'm looking through the classroom, and other kids have rubber bands on their desk, but they weren't assembled or anything like that. So in my mind, while I'm walking, I'm like, oh, they're supposed to be doing this to get it like how I got mine. Now they had the art and the music area that separates the upperclassmen and the lower classmen. So while we're in the walking through the art and the music area, my rubber bands and the 5 point star, they were they were disassembled. So we're walking towards the upperclassmen, and I'm frustrated because I'm like, dang, I had this. Now I don't know how to get it back into the thing. So I'm working with it, and I'm trying to get this star back in place. And as I'm doing that, I guess the teacher that's walking with me, like I said, I never saw the face, but it was a female. And so, the teacher that was with me, I was confused and frustrated, and she could tell I was confused and frustrated. And I wrote it down because I want to make sure I get this right. And this is what I heard: no one seems to get it, but we all have to get along. Everyone has to learn to get along with one another. And by the end of the dream, I had pretty much had it together because the rubber bands were supposed to be in like a continuous. You couldn't just tie it together. So the rubber bands had to be a continuous thing. And I was like, man, how you gonna get it continuous without it, like basically cheating. And so I had got it pretty much there, and I woke up. And so when I woke up, I was like, okay, let me look up what the spiritual significance of a 5 point star is. And so I Googled it. And when I Googled it, boy, did it go down a rabbit hole. It really went down a rabbit hole. And what I did was, in this video, I only put what resonated with me, even though there's other meanings, but I put what resonated with me because I know how I was as a kid. I was the person that would have been the friend to the friendless. I've never been one that's, just greedy. So that's pretty much what the star meant. But the top of the star is basically your mind over matter. As I go through here, I'm trying something a little different when it comes to the how I'm doing my videos. And I'm just trying. I'm having fun with it. And so I hope you enjoy it as I go through this little video process. So without further ado, let me start this video so you can see what I'm talking about. Before we move on to the rest of the video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do it now. Like the video and the notification bell so that you can know when I drop a new video. Also, don't forget to leave a comment so we can build an interactive community here. Thank you, and on to the video. Star, also known as a pentagram. spiritually interpreted as a symbol of protection, unity, and the balance of five elements, which is earth, wind, fire, water, and our spirit. The top point represents our spirit as the highest point, and then it has been used across many cultures and spiritual traditions throughout history. So the top is the spirit. The other 4 points are the matter, and the circle that goes around is the university. Early symbolism, and this is something else I got off of Google. I use Google a lot because I just trust Google. So the early symbolism for the pentagram was used in ancient Chinese and Japanese religions for spiritism. And it wasn't just Chinese and Japanese. I mean, you can find that pentagram everywhere. I mean, even in the American indigenous, you can find it in Old England. You can find it almost in any culture, but this is going by Google once again. The pentagram was used in ancient Chinese and Japanese religions, spiritism to symbolize the five matter, which is elements of life. In Chinese culture, the pentagram was considered magical. Babylonians used the pentagram to represent their gods and religious beliefs. So, I'm going to give you some keynotes about the pentagram spiritual meaning. And the first one is the five elements. The 5 points being the top, spirit, and the other four are the material. Come from earth, so that is significance to us. Then you have your wind, which is another matter, which is also significant to us because air is what we breathe. Wind is what moves pollen and different things like that, so we can eat, and everything works together to sustain our life. We have fire, and hey, fire comes with everything. Even though it may have destructive properties, it also has healing properties too. So the fourth matter or element is water. And, of course, water moves everything. Last and the best part, which makes all of us individual, which is spirit. Spirit is the last element, and that's where you get your energy. Energy is what moves everything. Energy moves us. So that's what the spirit came into place. So the second would be the Egyptian influence, and we know that Egypt, I mean, very intelligent society, very innovative, and gifted. And so the Egyptian schools of philosophy held the pentagram in high regard due to mathematical association, and particularly the golden ratio that is strongly associated with the Fibonacci sequence. So the golden ratio, that is something that all forms of life, when it's in balance and true to itself, it has that golden ratio and Fibonacci sequence, and that's in every form of life, and that's that spiral. Okay, the golden ratio is a ratio between two numbers that equals 1.618. It is 1 plus the square root of 5 divided by 2, and that's how you get that number. Now, how did they come up with that? I have no idea, but it seems to be the sequence that has made everything either balanced or just a part of us. It's that golden ratio, is the number that always seems to find itself in either our spiritual world or our physical world, basically our physical world. But, that's what that is. Okay. And so there's some fun facts about that golden ratio, which is, if you read or look up the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt, they were built about 2,000 2580 to 2560 BC, or before our common era, and its base dimension is 1.61804. The pyramids were created by the gods. DNA in relation to the golden ratio. And you see, I got you a cute little gift that's close to the resemblance of what our DNA is, but it's not, that's not how it looks, but it's just a cute little representation. And so the height of one helix unit measures extremely close to the golden ratio. Our DNA molecule measures 34 angstroms. And I'm going to tell you what an angstrom is. All right. So an angstrom is very tiny. It's 1/10 of a nanometer. And a nanometer is one, I think it's 1/1 millionth of a centimeter. So I'm trying to give you a approximation of how tiny this is. So our DNA molecule measures 34 angstroms long by 21 angstroms wide for each full circle of the double helix spiral. Okay, so you see the two, that's a double helix. That those two different sides, the purple and the yellow. And so that's how small our DNA is. And so these numbers, 34 and 21, are both in the Fibonacci series. So between 34 and 21 is approximately 1.6180. Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing. That shows you that we, you know, pyramids. That's the God DNA. All right. And so the number three significance for the pentagram is the Christian symbolism. And a lot of people forget about the Christian symbolism. Historically, the pentagram was used in Christianity to represent the five wounds of Christ, which is, you would think the top point would have been spirit, but it isn't. You have the hands, which is two of the points, the feet, which is two of the points, and the sword that pierced him is the other point. If you go into old history, this is what you will see when they talk about the five wounds of Christ. So, not according to me, but according to Google search. And historically, the pentagram was used in Christianity to represent the five wounds of Christ. There has been cases where they have flipped this upside down, whereas matter is above spirit, or matter is more important than you. That didn't resonate with me. That's not how I view things in life. And so, therefore, I did not put it in this video. To what the Bible says. I mean, we know that the Bible has truths. And so, the root of all evil is the love of money. Love, patience, community is supposed to reign supreme, not money. So in my dream, my star was upright. And I think the reason why there were rubber bands dream was rubber bands are flexible. You can move them, you can mold them, they're not rigid. Okay. And so we're supposed to be flexible and movable, and to be able to be shaped by a creator. Our DNA lets us know that we are gods. We are in control of ourselves and what we do. We have our intuition. And so I believe that, we do that, we'll be okay. It's going to be rough because, I mean, you make choices. The pentagram, mind over matter. You got to have that pentagram to go in the right way. Your spirit is supposed to be the one that governs matter, not matter governing the spirit. or the person. Your mind is supposed to be loving over matter. Matter can come and go. I showed you the four elements. It can be flooded away. It can be burnt down. It can be lost in the earth, be blown away through a tornado. All of those things can work together, and that's the matter. Little presentation, like I said, I'm having fun with it, and if it resonates with you, let me know.